What's up, Brian?
What's happening? Oh, that's funny. It seems like it's been forever.
Yeah, 2 weeks that's a long time.
Oh man, I know.
Last Wednesday was a tough day, I think, for the whole country, and we were both tired. And Greg, I'm sure he was too. And we just,
Yeah,
people just needed to, I think, have some time to get through that day. It was a tough day, I think, for
yeah,
the country. So,
yep,
and
yep.
I remember we talked, and we were both just exhausted from that, and I think from everything else. I know last Wednesday I'd seen something that morning that was tragic. I know many people probably know what I'm talking about on the bus, and then that really had my mind upset. And then the big event that took place in Utah that afternoon, and I'm still kind of reeling from that. But anyway, didn't mean to start off on a negative note or a sad note, but
Yeah,
we've seen a lot of miracles since then as well. So
yeah.
there's a lot to be thankful for, and I think
Definitely.
in my life, and I didn't mean to start off with this, but
No,
in my
that's
life,
okay.
I've just decided, this YouTube thing is awesome and the bees are awesome, but I think I need to be a stronger, a more bold, at testifying and sharing my beliefs, and I think a lot of people feel the same way, and
Yeah,
in my opinion, Charlie was a great example. A lot of
yep,
lies being said about him, and I respected him a lot. I'd seen some of his stuff. I always thought it was kind of fun and kind of cool, but as I've watched more and more and more and gone down that rabbit hole all week, he just had a really good way with dealing with people who were friends and foes. He just respected everyone and gave them all a chance to talk, and
mhm.
it's just really sad. But anyway, I didn't mean to
No,
just dive right in, but it's been tough, man. I've been so just distraught this week. The lady on the bus and those two things that was enough to really get me upset. And then, man, it's just been,
I know.
I've been
Well,
staying up till about midnight every night, just watching, and
yeah,
probably just putting too much of that. But it's just been, I just am amazed at the testimony that he had, and I don't really think he cared what church you went to, what your beliefs were. He loved you anyway, and
that's it.
and that's how we all should be.
Yeah,
It'd be a lot brighter if we had discussions and talked about things and talked about
right.
differences and things that we agree on, and just that's how good is actually achieved, is by discussing things together and coming to a conclusion. And anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I mean, I wanted to talk about it a little bit this week, anyways. Too, just events like that, regardless of where you are, if you're on a left wing, if you're on a right wing, if you're on the center wing, if you're down the aisle, not to point at political sides here, but things like that should never take place. This country,
Mhm.
we say, oh, freedom of speech, but that young man, I'll say young man, I mean, he was 31. He started doing that when he was 18 years old, and he lived by, he had just the mindset, let's debate. And he would go into those environments where it was, overwhelmingly against him, and he would just speak with people, and there was never violence. He would give people an open mic, and that's what it should be. That's what it should be like across the country. You should be able to speak with other individuals. We don't all agree. There's things that I'm sure that you do. There's things that I'm sure Tom, that whoever is in here, DC, does, that I might not agree with. Keith Spoman, there's things that he does, that I might look at and think, but the one thing and not to derail this, everybody, but the one thing in this country that I think folks need to value life more.
I agree.
It's, to take such to just perform and act like that. You have a guy who what did he have, a 4-year-old and like a 1-year-old, or he had
Yeah, just the babies. Just
children,
babies. Mm-hmm.
and now those kids.
Yeah. That's true. And I think that one thing that we all understand in being in a really honestly kind of like farming is what we're doing with these bees, whether it's 2 hives in the backyard or commercial, you're observing that life every day. And I think you appreciate it. I know when Greg was down here a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, he came down and visited. It was July 29th. I think it may have been 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was. And we all went out to eat, and he was asking folks, he said, what is it about those bugs in a box? And when I looked at the bugs, and when he asked me that, I thought about it. And to me, there's something divine about it. It's just a miracle. It's life right before our eyes. And how much more valuable. And I know bees are valuable, animals, everybody, everything's valuable, but we're the most incredible creation. People are,
Mhm.
we're a beautiful creation that God has put on the earth, in my opinion. And we've been given a stewardship and a responsibility, and to look after, of course, the earth, but also each other. And regardless, obviously, we all have differences. We do. It's just, we see it in the beekeeping forums. People get so angry and so weird about stuff that really doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. We all do things differently, and that's right, Highland Honey. We are, and so
I
I just, man, it's crazy how
tough.
and if it had it been, somebody on the opposite side of the political party that I don't agree with, still it's never ever justified. I don't care. It's a daggum opinion. It's a political opinions. And if anything, I think Charlie was a little bit, he was down the middle of the road in some ways, but he had his values. And number one was God. Number two was his family.
Yeah.
And then everything else. But he was just brilliant. And so anyway, I didn't want to just, I think it was good to address that, because I know people have been thinking about it. It's been at the top of the news, but I know we need to kind of move forward with the bee chat, but I thought it would be a good idea I didn't plan on starting off with that, but I think it's critical to bring it all home and realize, let's just all, agree and accept the fact that we're all a little bit different. We all have different beliefs. I know there are some probably in the chat here. I know I've seen some beekeeping folks. I've had people reach out to me about that are completely opposite side of me in some areas. But my goodness, it's okay. If you think, you gotta think what you think, and I can understand it sometimes, but I don't have to. It doesn't mean I think it would be okay for someone to injure, hurt, or take your life. I mean, that's never justified. The only time that's ever justified is if someone's trying to break into. There are times when you can defend yourself, but that is not the way to do it. I had a friend who had two of his daughters were there, and then one of their cousins. So right here from Endothan, I think two of them go to UVU. They go to school there, and the other one may go to BYU. I'm not sure. BYU is about 4 miles from that campus, and that's where I graduated from school. Utah is typically a very peaceful place. It's just there's a lot of there are obviously extremists everywhere, but for the most part, Utah Valley is known to be just a really ideal place. It's just calm and peaceful. There's not a lot of violent crime. Obviously, there's petty stuff that goes on, but as far as violent things like this, it just hasn't never even heard of out there hardly at all. And so, that kind of hit home to me, because I went to school right there. We have Jed, who gets on here from, Jed's Bees. Jed's Beekeeping. He lives in Orem. He lives right there. I'm not sure how far he lives from that school, but those three girls were there. One of them was actually video. I guess she thought that was a good question, so she was videotaping it when that happened, and she actually caught the whole. She didn't catch. You couldn't see a lot of actually what happened, because as soon as it happened, she got down. But she actually caught. And my friend called me. I was in a patient's room at the hospital, and he said, "I got the call. No dad ever wants to have him." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Thinking one of his daughters had been injured. I didn't know that it happened. And he said, "No." He said they were there, and he said he got shot. And then he sent me the video, and then of course, I went right downstairs in shock like everybody else. We started watching the news. But anyway,
I didn't know until when you sent a text saying, did you hear about it? And I forget what I was doing. I last Wednesday, I forget what exactly I was doing, but then I went straight.
It's locked in. Yeah.
Well, I just picked up my phone and I just Googled it, And I mean, it's just story after story after story. And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh my, I actually, I mean, I enjoyed watching him just debate. And the one thing, like the one, the one kind of debate that, you know, he was on one of the campuses and there was, a girl had gone up to the microphone and he had asked him, she said, she knew, she said, oh, I understand, you're not for like, gay marriage and all that kind of stuff, whatever. Um, and she said, but I would just like to understand more. She said, I'm very just confused and just very, like, you could tell that uh, this person had a lot of just stuff going on mentally. And Charlie said, I'm probably going to ask you a question that very few, if any, people will ask you. He said, can you just share your story with me?
Yeah, I saw that.
And
That was
exactly.
really good.
And it wasn't like, hey,
no judgment there.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, I'm not going to judge you. It's not our place to judge. He wanted to know the story of that person.
Yeah.
And after all was said and done, and he said, the only thing that I can ask of you is be comfortable with your skin.
Yep.
Now, he didn't attack the person. He
was fiery and he defended his beliefs, but he never really, there was no hate in that guy at all.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, what's going on up there with your bees, man?
Well, for the bees, this is a bee chat, right? Here we go.
It is a bee chat, yes.
And I still have Highland Honey's comment there highlighted, and I'll say one more thing about it, and then we'll move on and we'll talk about bees. But I was listening to this other chat, like I finished up with work and had to teach, and then was done with meetings and stuff like that. And then I was listening to the annual safety compliance, pass, pull, aim, all that kind of stuff, and race, rescue, alarm, all that kind of whatever. And I just thought, well, let me just flip on, like, let me see what's playing here on the YouTubes just for some other background noise while I'm watching these videos. And this other chat came on, and they were, of course, they were talking about local news and all that stuff. And the one person said, and you could tell where this individual stands as far as his faith. He said, he said, now he has a military background. So he said he was trained to, be in those type of situations and all that. But he said the normal everyday person does not understand the evil that it takes to perform an act like that. He said, human beings, we were made in his image. And he said, if you have that much evil in you that you are going to destroy his image, he said, just think about the evil that's involved there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But
and this kid, he was raised in a good family, and he just got sidetracked and just went down that road. And I think there's a lot of stuff that was going to come out, may not, just behind the scenes. But I'm like, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. We just appreciate all that he did. I appreciate the legacy he left, and then hopefully we can all pick up whatever our cause is, and hopefully it's a good cause, and just really help expand and make the world a better place. And so that's kind of what what I'm thinking anyway.
Chris Medeiros getting a comment that was held. I had to look at that over there. Right.
What did Chris say?
Chris said, it didn't even kick it over to StreamYard. It said over there, it said, Brian, are your bees as hot as mine are? ? You'd think I called their mama fat or something.
Oh my gosh.
Chris, I walked out, let me see. The other day I had gone over, maybe it was Sunday. I think it was Sunday. I don't know. It was recently, or maybe it was Monday, or I don't know. Just within the last few days, I went over just to check my deer feeders and stuff like that. And so just to back up and how the bees are doing, they're doing great. I was so the image that I have there in the background, like those woods that are there, my feeders where I've set up, to do some hunting this year. They are about like where my bees are, and it's in that fenced area. Uh, my deer feeders are about 150 feet away from my colonies. You go straight down through those little trees there, and there's a little stream, and they're right up a hill. I could smell the goldenrod from my hives at my feeders. I turned around and a little breeze had kicked up, and my wife had walked back with me. I told her, I said, "Do you want to walk back with me just to see like where where the feeders are?" Because I've been showing her videos. Look at this buck, look at this buck, and she's like, "You've showed me how many deer?"
She's like, "It's a deer."
Right. And literally, I could smell it that far. And then I had stopped by on Monday. I had to go and I hit a huge bolt with my car the other day and annihilated a tire. So I was getting my tire fixed, and I had to swing by my mom's, just drop off some papers for her that she needed printed. And from up at her house, like different direction, the breeze was blowing. You could smell them. And I mean, you could smell literally her entire yard. You could smell. Now I went through on, it was either Saturday or Sunday. We were over just letting the pups play. And my wife had said, "Why don't you go check your bees real quick while we're here?" And I said, "All right." So, I keep a set of jeans over there and stuff like that. So I just threw those on real quick, and I figured, well, let me just rip through and check some supers. And they're pulling in wet nectar like crazy. I could probably, and my supers have been on for a week or so. I could have probably pulled a couple supers, 2 or almost 3 supers from nectar. And it's very dark. So, and you just, as soon as you crack that lid and you're just sitting there and you just close your eyes and you just inhale, you just get that smell. And so they're doing good. Now they are still, like a couple people that saw my videos, how they were a little bit testy. I think you sent some bees up here. They were still a little bit. I walked over on Monday I think it was Monday when I dropped off those papers just to kind of see. And literally I walked down there, shorts, t-shirt. I had 2 girls, Chris, that literally boom, boom, nailed me right in the chest. And they were butt down, stinging my shirt. And I looked down and I'm like, "You little idiots," but they were still a little testy, not quite as bad. When I went through them on, over the weekend, they were a hair testy, but not quite as bad as what they were. But, up here, I don't know what your rain level, like where you are as far as precipitation. Ohio, like where I'm at, we're getting the raw end of the deal now. Like I think in August we had, well, they said our August this year was worse than last year. They said we had the driest August on record in like 40 years in my area. And yeah, Chris is saying bone dry. Now in September here, I mean, I can't think of when it rained in September. And I looked at the next 2-week forecast. There's 2 days where it shows like 30% chance, and that's it. And then coming up to October, like it was October 1st up here, it's saying 78 degrees. And I'm like, well, that's great. Another month where we're probably going to have 1 day of rain. But all that said, I have no idea how the bees do it, how Mother Nature kind of lines things up, but they're pulling in some nectar. So it blows my mind. I figured I was going to walk down and not find anything. But now when I was out checking my feeders the other day and I smelled it that far, I have never, in all the years that I've been beekeeping, I've never been able to smell, like that aroma from the bees that far. I mean, you're talking 150 feet away. Now, yeah, I have more colonies now than what I ever had. I mean, there's 18 over there. But, when you're talking 150 or so feet away, that's quite a distance. So, but they're doing good. I mean, there was one colony that was in the process of requeening, and that was like 2.5 weeks ago when I checked it. Well, it was September. I think it was the 2nd. So yeah, well, just over 2 weeks. I didn't go down. I thought, should I even bother with it the other day? They were pulling in nectar. I thought I wasn't going to worry about it. In another week, probably when I go through and just to check things to see how if our flow tapers off, and then I'll have to act then. I'll probably check it. And if I need to combine out, I'll combine. But the bees, for starting out, looking back at the beginning of this year in March, April, and looking at what I have now, things have gone somewhat okay. So I can't complain where they're at right now, honest. So
that's good news.
Yeah. How about
it has gotten to be it is bone dry down here as well. We had rain. I mean, all the grass was green, everything was growing great. It was really a very good summer. Everything was just kind of perfect. Had a little every year we have a dry spell here or there, but back in the spring we had a little short dry spell, but it may have helped things, a little bit. I'm not sure. We had a great year, at least I did. And the last, Lisa says it's been 2 weeks. I think we had some rain a couple of weeks ago, but that was the only day that I can remember in the last month that it rained. And it's just, if not longer, to me, it's just, my grass is brown out here. I need to get my sprinkler system fixed. I've been dragging the manual one around. I hate doing that. So my grass is, I kind of like my yard. The advantage of that is though I haven't had to mow it, but I haven't mowed it like in 3 weeks and it looks fine. Hasn't grown up too much, but it's been very dry. The goldenrod actually is just starting to turn yellow here. It's kind of crazy. Up in other parts of the country, I think it was a little ahead of time, but here it's just starting to turn yellow. I was driving down the Appling Farms and it's got that light yellow color. It's not all fully in yet.
Yeah.
But it is coming. But I don't know what kind of crop we're going to get off of it. I did put some open feed out to my bees this past weekend, and I was out at Appling Farms delivering honey this afternoon, and the bees had slurped down 3 27-gallon totes worth at Appling Farms. That's like 40 to 45 colonies out there now. I've lost a few out there, but they had pretty much slurped it all down. There's maybe a little bit left. They're still just, all in those totes that I use. And so at least down there, they need it. Haven't checked the other bee yards yet. And but there's quite a bit of food, and the locations are all different. Some seem to be I saw nectar in some of them as far as, they seem to be fine. Others are just, I guess, just the bone dry. I'm not sure what's going on, but the bees look pretty good.
Look at that.
I love that. We're going to be there pretty soon here. It's going to be just like that here as well. Actually, that looks almost identical to a power line, a frontage place we have just like a mile from here. A lot of stuff grown up. So I guess we'll see. But we do need some rain. We could definitely use some rain. So, but yeah, as far as the bees go, I did make some splits back in August. Check the queens, Greg's queens. He sent me 20. I got some from Zach back in July, and I didn't really do a real good job I didn't put food on them. A lot of them had honey in them then still. And so most of them did okay. I did lose a few, and then I've lost a few of Greg's too. I did feed them. I tried to do everything right, but I know at least one. I think I've lost 2 or 3 out of 20, and one of them I know was beekeeper error. The other I did find a drone layer, and then I think that may have been the only 2 that didn't make it out of 20. But there may be one or 2 more that are kind of weak. So hopefully that's not too bad of a percentage. Getting a queen through the mail.
Right.
So especially in August, it's a really tough time to do splits down here.
I watched your last video over like 2 days, I'm watching it, and then I got called away, and then I finished watching it up, and I love. I mean, I can't. I with working singles now, I couldn't split the way that you split things, but I had never even thought about splitting colonies that way.
Oh my gosh, man.
Shake them all
That
down.
that is the that
Um,
when I was a new beekeeper, there was a guy named, I think it's Tim Wallsby man, Tim Durham. I think he was down in Mississippi, and his channel is called Wallsby Man, I think is what it's called. He's an older guy.
yep.
He got out there in shorts. He had a bandana he wore around his head in shorts, and
I've
but he
seen that.
always wore gloves. For the propolis, just not bee gloves, was just regular, some kind of work gloves he wore. I'm not sure what he did, but I've watched his video. It's called. It just popped up on my feed actually. I was looking for it. I think I just put in Wallsby Man easiest split or something like that, and it popped up. And that's the video I watched years ago, probably 8 or 10 years ago, maybe even 11 years ago. I watched that video, and that is the easiest way. Bob Benny does it that way. A lot of the pros do it that way. Bob has a video doing a similar thing, but I call it the queen excluder split. You just, if you got two boxes the same size, or even if you don't, like if you say, for example, you can do it with single deeps, Brian. All you have to do is you just take a second box out there. And in the spring, it works really good in the spring. I've done this. You don't have to pull 10 frames up. You can just take them and the frames that you want in your split,
Yeah,
make sure you get plenty of brood above. If you want to make a 5-frame split, just pull the 5 frames you want up in your nuke. You got to make sure you got brood to draw those nurse bees up.
right,
And then
right.
just put those five, just put the queen excluder, take those 5 frames, put them, shake all the bees off, put them up above, make sure all the bees that you can. Make sure that, you don't get every bee, but make sure the queen's down below by shaking the bees
Right.
off. Pull those 5 frames up that you want to take, at least 2 or 3 frames of brood, and then come back even a couple hours later, for sure, if you do it overnight, and those 5 frames will be covered in bees. Take the 5 frames out, put them in a nuke, take the top box off, take the clean scooter off, and put the lid back on. Of course, you want to fill in frames, either drawn comb or new frames in where you pull the 5 frames out, but it is so easy, and it's really kind of fail proof. The next question is, when you do those type of splits, is do you leave the queen in the original spot, or do you move the queen off? And in my case, this time I moved the queen off because I wanted the new queen to have plenty of bees in there. I wanted to make sure, and I didn't give them a lot of time. I came back probably 2 or 3 hours later. You can come back pretty quick. I've learned in like a couple hours, it's covered. You can go through the entire bee yard if you got quite a few colonies and come back, and those first ones will have bees up in there. But that's just how I did it this time. Sometimes, like in the spring, I'll probably keep the queen there and move the other box away. The way Bob Benny did it, a video I saw of his a few years ago, he just kind of takes boxes along with him, and he just moves resources above the queen excluders, and he'll just mix them up, move them from place to place, and everything. And then he goes back with his nuke boxes and just pulls from those top boxes whatever resources he needs. And so you don't have to even keep from the same hive. You can just mix and match and do whatever. But basically, what you're putting above that queen excluder are resources for new splits. You can put food up there, brood up there, whatever you want. And you can.
I
There's
need
so
to
many
get
ways
some,
to do it, but it's such a simple way to do it. It's so easy. It's really a good way to do it with for new beekeepers. You can do it with nukes. You can stack a double nuke on top of them. Make your split, get the new queen there, get them established, them grow really hard, stack another nuke box on top, let them fill that nuke box up, and then you can just shake all the bees down below, stick his queen excluder in there, and you take the top nuke box off, and you have another nuke. It's just so easy. It's so easy to
yeah.
do it that way.
I tell you, next year, I should probably seriously think about doing that, because if I go into the winter with the 18 colonies I have now, like I'm thinking in my head a percentage that I'll accept of a loss. Like I'm like, if I lose 6 of the 18, there's still 12. And basically what I'm going to do is the 18 that I have there set up, 18 spots, that's going to be my production. And then I want to keep a certain number of nukes off to the side with that new area that I cleared. And I mean, it would be so easy that way that I
Mhm.
could do splits, fill the spots that my dead outs, and then I could just move them over to my nuke row that I'm going to do. And I mean, I think that'd probably work fantastic.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just
It's
Brian 30.
You do have to remember, just as with any split, though, that if you do it in the same area, the foragers are going to fly home. So you have to make sure there's plenty of nurse bees in there. But when the idea is, even if you put a little bit of open brood up there, then the nurse bees will come up, and that's what you really want to take. And it's a good idea to feed them initially when you make those splits, especially if you're moving the new split off without you're putting the new queen in, because all you have is nurse bees. And so if you're this time of year, especially if you're moving them, it's kind of, the population is just going to go down when you move them in the same bee yard. The ideal way, what I really like to do, it's just a time thing for me lots of times, is I like to move the split away. I like to move the one I pull up away to a different bee yard. Then you keep most of the foragers home. And I like to do that. And then you put the queen in there. And in the spring, that's what I usually try to do if I can. If I'm in a hurry, I just drop them in the same yard. But to me, that equalizes the population a little better.
Yeah.
If you put them down in the same bee yard, you lose all those foragers, and you got to check on them and make sure they have enough bees in them, because sometimes they'll shrink down a little bit more than what you want. But yeah, that queen excluder, I would encourage folks to go look up Walls Bee-Man, WALS Bee-Man, and look up, just type in easiest splits or something like that, and it'll pop up. It's an old video, and he's awesome. Now, he passed away recently. Stan, actually, on Texas Friendly Beekeepers, did like a tribute to him. I guess he passed away earlier this year, and he was just amazing. He was such a good guy. He would go in. Sometimes he'd just record, put his phone up there and record, and just talk about. He'd tell jokes. He was pretty funny and everything, and he was just funny. But then he also had a real strong testimony, and he would talk about that. And then he was very, very fundamentally sound with his bees. So he was just a good man. And he was back before there were a lot of people doing YouTube. He was kind of one of the OGs out there, with the like some of the JP the Bee Man, Yap, he was doing it back then. It was right when I was getting started with bees. I didn't start really seriously for a few years. Then they had, of course, Fred Dunn and David Burns, a lot of the guys that have been around doing it for a long time. Tim Walls was one of the OGs out there, and just fundamentally very sound. And so it was really cool. He made a lot of really cool videos.
Yeah.
Nothing real complicated, nothing high tech, but they were just straight up, you want to do a split, here's the easiest way to do it. And then he just show you how to do it. There was no fluff. It was just like, this is what I do. This is the easiest way to do it. And let me show you. And then he would, and then he'd go on to the next topic. So he was really good. Yeah, there's nothing OG about me. But we're trying, man. We're trying. So trying to do fine.
That's funny.
Speaking of that,
in the head.
Yeah, speaking of that, Tom and everybody, I'm looking at making some adjustments to my channel coming up here soon. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. It's kind of been tugging at me to kind of go in a little bit of a different direction. Obviously still bees, but kind of tweak things a little bit. So just stay tuned for that. I'm still going to do probably maybe some of the vlog type videos, but I've just got something in my mind I want to try, and maybe number one, I maybe be a little more successful as a teacher, so to speak, as a beekeeper. But number two, just be able to help teach. I really want to do more teaching of people, kind of how to just hit more of the basics, and maybe steer away from the vlog style a little bit, although I'm sure I'll still have some of those videos in there. But I haven't decided exactly what I want to do yet. But there are some changes coming, I think. It's comfortable. It's easy just to keep doing the comfortable thing, just keep doing what I've done all this time. But every year rolls around and the same events occur. I might do them a little bit differently. I've thought about that, DC. I've got a lot of things on my mind right now. Actually, frequency of videos may drop here for a little while, just as I kind of regroup and figure things out. There's a chance I may settle back into the same routine that I've done previously, but if I'm thinking there's going to be some changes coming. And so I'm just trying to, it's just been tugging at me now for a while. I just want to try something a little bit different. I'm still planning on doing the stream team, but if you notice the frequency drop a little bit here the next few months, it's just because I'm trying to figure some things out. So bear with me. And anyway, you heard it here first here on the stream team here at Castle Hives tonight. So, nothing's wrong. Nothing's happened to me. I hope. If the frequency goes down, I'm just trying to figure some things out. So
yeah, it gets. I mean, sometimes I go through those those times also where, I mean, I think I went almost 2.5 weeks, didn't have a video out. It's just, you get things going on in your head. You're busy with life,
Yeah,
and it's difficult sometimes. I mean,
it
those
is.
folks out there that put out like a video a week, it's difficult. You got to take time out of your day, and if you want to edit and do all that kind of stuff. The folks that do multiple videos a week, I don't know how they do it. I don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna just I mean, and if anybody has any ideas, of what I could do, just you can email me or whatever on my channel or put in my comments or whatever. But I just think there's some opportunities for me. And I've been since this whole thing, I mean, I've always felt the urge to share. I've just kind of in the background with my testimony of my beliefs and so
you
forth. I just
could,
kind of, but I think that there might be a little more of that, and they're nothing pushy, overbearing. But I just want people to understand that for me, it's not just about beekeeping. It's just not about growing a channel. I mean, I do enjoy it. I enjoy it, but there's more to life.
yeah,
I feel like it's a platform where I could hopefully help people out, not just
you
beekeeping, but
could,
maybe just help someone out. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I just don't know how to do it yet,
yeah,
and I think hopefully it's been a good thing so far, but I hope to be able to just turn it up a notch and move in a little. I've been having that tug, so I think I'm gonna have to follow through with it. I just don't know which direction to go quite yet, but there's gonna be a little bit of a change. It's still gonna be me, still gonna be my bees, and still gonna be my journey. But I just don't. I just part of it is I'm burnt out on doing the same thing over and over again, and part of it is I just need to do something different. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's right, DC. That's my plan there.
you
Anyway,
could always, I mean, if you still want to do a lot of or some of the vlog style, I mean, you could, I know, like, you don't have, so to say, like a set schedule when you throw your videos out there, but
yeah,
you could set up just like a set schedule as far as teaching. If you
sure. That's kind of what I'm gonna do.
every like just to start out, kind of maybe do one a month at first and just say, okay,
Yeah.
the third Thursday of the month, I'll throw out, intro, or even if you do like the first Thursday and the third, that way it's every other. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some ideas. I see the videos that I have. I've been doing a little bit of thinking, looking back, and the videos that
yes,
still get what they call evergreen content, the stuff that people are still
yeah,
watching from after years. I want to figure out how to do something that's going to, and I understand people that are a lot of people on here have been loyal for years, watched all the videos, and they're really following my journey. But I do think that there's another little niche out there for people like Larissa, Beekeeping Made Simple, and
yeah,
some of the other folks out there that are doing almost like a class type of thing, or where they really go through. Like if you're a beekeeper in the yard, for example, well, just not even beekeeping. Say I want to change a headlight on my car. You know what I mean? I go and I say, hey, my truck is an F-150 2019. I go, 2019 F-150, how to change the headlight. And so then I just watch a video, and then I just know how to do it. And I can watch that video over and over again, and I can get it done. And that my F-150 is a little complicated. It's hard to do, but you can figure it out. And so that kind of a thing where people are in the bee yard, or they're just thinking about someone who might be new, who's just intimidated, and
mhm,
they might have seen me do something in a video, or you, Brian, or anyone out there who does this vlog style, and say, oh my gosh, I remember when so and so did this. But then you have to try and look back through everything and find that one 3-minute clip somewhere
yeah,
in the midst of a 15-minute video. It's going to be more of like and there might be some how-to stuff. I don't want to make Mike very cringe, but just how to identify the queen, how to, things like that, little things where questions that particularly new beekeepers have. That's the kind of thing I want to do. And I don't know how to do it, but I've talked to Greg about now doing some things for a couple of years, and he's kind of giving me, yeah, keep it simple, short and sweet. I'm going to make some videos, like that's kind of my goal, Stan, is to make some things where where I can do that, where I can just make
yeah,
this videos short, sweet, and to the point. People do enjoy the vlog stuff, and I, believe it or not, for a while I had more views on my longer videos than the shorter ones. Now lately my views have tanked. I think it's the time of the year, but anyway, that's what my plans are. I don't want to dwell. This isn't my chat tonight. It's on your channel, Brian,
That's
but
all
that's
right.
kind of what I'm looking at. I'm trying to figure it out. So
Yeah.
what I
You know, and
tend
a
to
quick
do,
question.
what I tend to do is I have a topic and then I just ramble on and on and on. And then, I see something else. And I'm like, oh, check this out. Or if you watch my videos, I just kind of follow through with everything instead of I have a goal when I pull up, like I'm going to talk about oxalic acid vaporizer, for example. I see Mike's in here.
Yeah.
And I end up doing this intro, and then I end up talking about all kinds of stuff. And then, oh my gosh, check this spider out. My last video had a spider. And oh my gosh, there's a beautiful queen. And I kind of get off topic, which is cool.
Squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. But I just think
Yeah.
when I'm looking at the bees, I'm so in awe. Still, I'm so amazed sometimes by the bees that I'm like, if I like this, then someone else is going to think it's cool. And people do. But there's some people who just want to know how to find the queen or what she looks like. They don't really want to,
Right.
that's all. They're in the bee yard. They got their phone. They're trying to find someone. And they might be a brand new beekeeper. I'm like, they might be thinking, is this a drone? What is this I'm seeing? And then if they can go, hopefully that can help a little bit. That's my goal. Anyway, didn't mean to dwell on that, but there are going to be some changes
All right.
coming, I think. Yeah, redfish, that was I called it a banana spider. Someone else said it's a different kind of spider. Maybe it's two different names for the same thing, but those big spiders, man, they are down here. And anyone who lives in the South, I know they're all around anywhere in the Southeast. You may have them up north too, I don't know, but they hang in trees like they are in the woods. And so if you ever walk through the woods, or if you're ever on an ATV or anything in the woods on a horse going through the woods in the summertime here, you can just imagine what it's like to go through one of those big old spider webs. It's not, and spider alone is a little bit intimidating. I don't think they bite you or anything, but just that web across your face, it's just really, really nasty. And so I did shoot a video. There were like 30 of them right by my bees up at the farm. There's a gate where you go into the pasture right there, and there's trees on both sides. And they had webs like layered, like up probably up to 50 feet up, just as the trees went along, they layered up. And the sun was shining on them perfectly, and you could see there were probably 30 or 40 of those spiders up there. They were everywhere. So anyway,
that's nuts.
Yeah, I call them banana spiders too. That's what I call them, Dennis and Cajun.
We don't have those things up here. Like, we've got wolf spiders, but they're not,
they don't make the big webs like that.
Yeah, they're not making that kind of stuff, and they typically don't. I mean, they jump away from you anyways. They are.
Yeah. We have those down here too.
Yeah.
Those were always fun at scout camp growing up. Those big wolf spiders, you knew they were in the tent with you. But you wake up in the morning and that big old thing sitting up. Well, usually at night you wake up and shine your flashlight. They're up on that tent, just sitting there looking at you. You're like, oh gosh.
Yeah, they don't bother anything.
No, they don't. They don't.
So, yeah.
Anyway, but that's my plan, and hopefully I keep in it. And I got a lot of really cool things coming ahead. I'm just kind of at the every year we talk about burnout a little bit. I'm kind of at that phase a little bit right now. And every year during the burnout time, it seems like views on beekeeping videos go down. So that kind of adds to the frustration a little bit. And
so that's,
at least in my case,
it's fun. Well, like mine dipped a little bit. It's just, you hit that time of the year where it happens. I mean, people are busy, they're outside, they're not,
for sure,
glued to their device or doing all this kind of stuff. The last video that I put up, I mean, it's done. It's number 2. Like,
oh, good
videos. Yeah, it's done. It's done okay. So who knows?
Yeah, you're doing a great job with your videos. I think someday the right people are going to find it. It's going to hit the algorithm. You're going to have a video that kind of takes off. I think you will one of these days, because you do a really good job, Ryan, with your story, especially this year with starting with 3 and building up to where you're at. It's just been fun to watch, and they all look good. I mean, they're all big, strong, healthy colonies. You don't really have any duds that I can see. And so
no, they're
people need to watch you. Hobbyists need to watch you and see what you're doing, because you're doing things right.
Yeah. They're doing pretty good over there right now. I've got an idea in my head that I could film right now, just because it fits for like right where we're at in Northeast Ohio right now. It's just a matter of the time thing. I finished up work today, and then we took the pup for a walk and got home, ate, and then went over and helped out at the in-laws and come over and do this. So I can't, You know,
Sure.
I may have time tomorrow, but if I don't get it done tomorrow, Friday I'm busy, Saturday I'm busy, Sunday I'm busy. So
That's just how
well,
it is, man.
my birthday is Saturday.
Oh,
So
awesome.
Friday we're gonna, we're doing some stuff. Saturday,
How's it going to feel to hit that 40 mark? Feel pretty good.
oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Once you get to a certain age, doesn't it start going back the other direction? Wouldn't that
You
be
know,
cool? Wouldn't that be cool if when you got older, got a little bit wiser and kind of learned some things, if you could go back the
yeah.
other direction and relive some of those younger years with the knowledge and wisdom that you have,
Oh man.
then and kind of start over. But then again, I know that when I was younger, I was much more, when you don't have some of that knowledge of what can happen, you're more willing to try things that can propel you
Yeah.
into some good areas, and you have more courage sometimes to do things like my football story, my college football story was kind of like that. I mean, now I don't think I would have had the guts to try that, but back then I was like, why not? Let's just give it a shot. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's just kind of,
We,
that's just how life is. Get older and wiser, so hopefully you can pass some of that wisdom on to the younger generation.
I think years ago it's some of the stuff I did though, and I remember like my buddies and I used to I'll read a comment. I gotta save that. My buddies and I used to go out and like we would jump off of cliffs into a quarry. We There was a lake where there
Oh
was a
gosh,
bridge
yeah.
there was a bridge that was 40 or so feet up, 45 feet up, and we would jump off the bridge. I mean, we just did so much stupid stuff. So, I enjoy the wisdom now. I mean, when you age, you do learn. Uh, you know, um, let's see, stand. Where's it at? How far back is
It's
it?
just about 10. It's just right up there. It's just a comment he put on there about beekeeping supply stores.
Oh, there we go. I got it started. Okay. But yeah, I mean, now I don't know. Birthdays now, when they come, it's like people always ask, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't really need to do anything special. You know,
Mm-hmm.
visit with family. I don't. That's all. That's all for me. People ask, "What do you want?" I don't know. Surprise me. You know. But oh well. Let me see here. Kevin, are you going to someday release STLs for 3D printing? So, Kevin, there is this thing behind me. If you can see this, um, if you go on to, I think, Fangs, it is. I think I found it on Fangs. It is actually, this is an observation hive. It's not done just yet. Let me pull this frame off of it. Um, it's a complete, it's got wall mount and everything. Oh. But yeah, I mean, this thing here, it'll fit 2 frames that you have to cut deeps. So it's almost 4 deep frames in each box. And then like there's vents in it. There's queen excluders. There's all kind of stuff with this thing. There's a feeder attachment. If you just go on, like I said, go on Fangs. I've been working on that thing, just getting stuff printed out. Um, I'm going to probably try and get one package next year. That way I can just throw a package in that thing. But there's files out there for them. So, Bruce, thank you. Let's see here. Stan says, "Yeah, Kevin, let me go on there real quick here. Let me search. I think it was Fangs. Let me search. And I'll just do all and I'll tell you exactly where it's at. Observation. I'll find it, and okay, it's on printables. I'll throw the link right into. There you go. It's on printables. So that's the actual. So if you guys saw, there were all kind of write-ups in Popular Science and all kind of stuff. There was that young kid who his father, the story was his father designed this. The guy that actually made these files, he has videos that are, I think the kid is, it's Teddy Thatcher, or Teddy Hatcher is this guy's name. He created this like 5 years ago. So like his video of this is 5 years old. And that kid, like, it's, oh, my dad designed this, and I saw it, and I'm like, hang on one second, that thing's on printables. So I'm just surprised nobody did their due diligence and researched it and are like, hang on one second here. But yeah, Kevin, it's on printables. There's the link there. So, and Stan, interesting topic is decline of some of the bee supply stores. Yeah, fewer big chains have closed down a few of their stores. Any clue? Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Bruce?
I just think, Stan mentioned it there are, I guess there's beekeeping stores kind of popping up all over the place. We don't have any right here that I know of in this area. So we could probably use one right here. I've thought about actually, if I ever, get to where I'm doing, have the time, I might try and maybe become a distributor for some of the stuff. I'd like to do some of Greg's boxes down here and maybe have a little distributorship and do some things, not like a big major store, but just something to kind of help.
Yeah.
If folks need some bee supplies, my mentor actually used to make his own boxes, and he had supplies, and I would just go buy everything from him. He had hive tools and just the basic stuff. He didn't have a lot of it, but he had a little bit of inventory. And I would just order 100 frames from him, and then his kids would put them together for him. And anyway, so it is nice to have someone close. But I don't know why that is, Stan. I know there are margins. I know it's probably tough to make a profit on it sometimes, and if there are too many around, it can obviously create competition. And I think another thing probably is just people order online, so it's it's easier just to get online and order a lot of things than to just go down to the store. And I think probably too, if you're kind of a mom and pop beekeeping store, you may not have everything that people want all the time. Like you may have smoker, hive tool, and bee jacket in a few boxes, but you may not have the bottles, the extraction equipment, all that kind of stuff. And so, the treatment stuff, you may not have that. And so I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what the problem is, but I think, well, Mike's Bees, Mike says, yeah, Amazon sells a lot of products as well. So it's just kind of probably the issue that's going on with a lot of brick and mortar stores. It's just, there's a lot of competition online, and,
my thought on it all is, if you look back, say 10 years, okay, there were not as many, so to say, like Nature's Image Farm supply shops around there. So where you had those major outlets, those major bee stores, the supply stores, now, I mean, just think in the last decade, just think of all of the different supply stores that are now open, and
true.
We have access to. So that competition is out there, plus the online. I mean, Amazon does. There's a lot of people that they all go to Amazon. They don't want to drive anywhere. It is easy for a lot of folks just to pick up their phone and say, okay, well, I need this and that. And they go on there and whoop. And a day, 2 days later, there's a box sitting at their door. So,
yeah, I think too, what you mentioned, Brian, you just think about the people that we know just from the Bee Expo, the people that we are, Greg has a pretty significant size store. You got Hilco, you got Foxhound here in Alabama. is a pretty significant size store that sells everything, and that's just 3 people just off the top of my head that we see at the convention that I actually deal with and buy products from. And so none of those were around, I don't think, 10 years ago. Were they? I don't believe. And now they're decent sized players in the industry now. And so, and there are way more out there that I know I'm not listing. I mean, you got Texas Bee Supply,
Foxhound.
Yeah, Foxhound. And
there's so many.
But that's just a tip, just a drop in the bucket. I mean, a tip of the iceberg. I don't want to leave anybody out, but
yeah.
So people are getting in the space, and so it is tough, I think, for someone that wants to set up a bee store locally. Greg's done really well, but Greg does have the learning yard, and he's got some unique products that he kind of sells and pushes that are good quality. And so, if you're just selling standard stuff that everybody else sells, there's nothing different about it. It might be tough, especially to compete online if you don't have a unique product at all that you're selling. So.
Yeah,
it's just, I'm sure it's very tough to do. But anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah. Hey, I got something on here. You need to tell me about this.
Yeah, you guys have seen in the comments, we got Sam Mixon comes on here quite often, and he was pretty excited. Sam, maybe about a month ago, he was asking us. He asked us all. I think he asked Greg. He asked me. He wanted to try and do a split. I can't remember the exact story, but. So he did a split. I think he ended up with a kind of a walkaway split situation. I'm not sure exactly how he did the split, but he sent me this picture. He's pretty proud of it. He's got a beautiful queen there. It looks like he's about to mark her in this picture. He wanted me to show the group tonight this picture. You see, she's a beautiful, I don't know if you call it a tiger stripe or maybe a caramel colored queen. I'm not sure what you call her, but maybe she's an Italian, but she is beautiful. And then he sent me a couple more pictures. I didn't send them to you, Brian. Definitely, we got larvae, we got eggs, we got everything on the frame. So Sam, we appreciate you sending that to us. And I do believe that, if she can get built up good before winter, which, you got plenty of young larvae in the frames, hopefully she'll be a really good one for you moving forward, get you through winter and on into next year. So congratulations
She's nice.
on that, Sam. Yeah. Congratulations, man. She was beautiful. Yeah. She got that push in marking cage too. Those are pretty handy.
Like that. Yeah.
I don't have one, but I have seen them. It might be a good idea. I just usually pick them up, and I've marked them now that way forever, but that would be a very easy way to do it. I think that little push in cage, as long as you don't push down too hard, but I think it'll work well.
Good stuff. That's a good picture.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. She's nice. She's nice looking.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Let's while we're waiting for our guest to come on, let's talk about mites just a little bit.
Yeah, he should be on here probably in a little bit, I think.
Talk about what I'm seeing in my hives right now with some mites. So historically, I've never really treated them in the spring because I've always, we're hit the ground running here like January, February, the bees build up so big. And as soon as I can get a hold of some queens or as soon as I start seeing drones, we're splitting down here. Last couple of years, I've made a significant number of splits in February. I thank goodness to Zach for being able to get me some queens. And so I just get into my season and I just haven't treated. Well, this year I did things a little differently. I hit them pretty hard last summer. I used Apivar, which was mostly effective, but I had some absolute mite bombs that ended up dying out. 2 or 3 of them, just ridiculous numbers, like numbers I'm embarrassed to even say, just ridiculous numbers. And right after Apivar, then I used Apigard and oxalic acid vapor. I did it like kind of staggered those treatments a little bit. If you go back and watch the videos, you can see last fall about this time. But in the spring, I decided to try Viroxan. You can use it. You can have it with the honey supers on the hives. And I'll finish this up real quick. So Viroxan, hey Jake, Viroxan on the hives in the spring through honey season, it kind of kept the numbers down reasonable. I put it in again in July, and I checked on them, pulled the strips out this past week, did some testing, and I've got a significant mite load. It's not ridiculous, like the hives aren't crashing really from it, I don't think, but it didn't really knock them back. It just kind of kept them manageable. So anyway, I will turn. So I'm not super excited about Viroxan, but anyway, Jake's on here. Hey, Jake.
You got us, Jake?
Jake, can you hear us? Not sure that he can hear us.
Yeah. Here, hang on. Let me.
Does he know he's in the stream?
Okay, so I heard you. I think I might have had like a delay there. I heard Bruce talking, telling the story, but then you guys were both not talking. So there was a
there we go. Okay,
something, but I hear you and see you now.
There we go. Yeah. One thought in my head, and then we're going to find out what's going on with Jake here. Bruce, have you seen the Apivar 2.0?
I have heard about it, but I haven't. No, I haven't used it yet.
I'll be curious. Yeah.
There is a product from Canada called Varroa Destructor, it looks very similar to Roxanne.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Benny did some testing on it, and I think I need to go back and watch his follow-up video where he showed the results. I haven't done that yet, but as he was pulling the strips out, I watched that video. It looks like the Varroa Destructor strips were more effective than the Roxanne. And from what I've heard, the amount of oxalic acid in those strips is much higher, but it's based out of Canada, so I'm not sure if everyone has access to that. The other thing I think that was really even better than the Roxanne was just the homemade.
Right.
A lot of people talk. People have been telling me to do that for years. I know Jed uses it. Bracken uses it. A lot of people use them, and I think that Bob had really good results with that as well. The Roxanne, not as good. And so, from my understanding, I'm not trying to badmouth Roxanne, but I just, it didn't knock my numbers way back like I was hoping.
Yeah.
And so I'm about to just start hitting them with OAV, just hitting them hard. I don't really want to put Apigard in them right now, and I just don't really. But I'm going to try to. I've got the new Lorobi's Instant Vap Light, or not Light, but Instant Vap Turbo. And so I'm going to try that thing out and really just hit them hard and just start hammering them with that and see if I can get the numbers down a little bit. I've had success doing that in the past. And so I've just kind of found OAV, it just kind of works. I used that exclusively for several years, and I started trying other things with some success. But anyway, that's kind of my goal, is just to start hitting them hard with that thing. I think I can move pretty quick and see what happens.
Yeah. Jake, you entered right into the conversation talking about mites. Yeah, you guys have like really turned things around down at your place as far as like the number of your colonies and health of the colonies and everything. So
health is definitely better, and I'm sure that's oxalic acid related for sure. We did lose some hives last year coming out of winter. It was really good, right? It's the same thing every year. It's probably a feed issue, but it seems like we have a warm up in March, and man, everything's going really well. And then we get another cold spell, and that seems to catch a couple hives off guard. Where we always lose a couple each year. So I haven't quite figured out how to work through that time of the year.
Your colonies that you tend to lose, what size are they? Are they your larger ones?
One was decent size. One, I mean, they were all. I felt like they were pretty good. I can't remember offhand now because I've had a few losses throughout the year, so I'm kind of confusing a couple of losses on of which was which time, but I felt like they were doing pretty good. And so I don't know if it was, I can't remember specifically if it was a feed issue or if they're just somehow get caught off guard by the cold snap or what.
Yeah. I know, like here, I mean, everywhere's different, and you're in a different part of the country as compared to where I'm at. But the concern here is for those massive colonies come like March time, especially because we're warming up, and those massive colonies, there's absolutely nothing for them to forage on. So if you are not like on top of them as far as giving them some type of feed, they die off fast.
I feel like I've had a lot of feed left over. I think I had a lot of frames that were full of honey, like capped honey, and something happened. Like they like
Oh,
freeze in place. Because I think I had a bunch of frames that I was able to reuse in
oh,
some other
okay.
hives from them. So yeah, it could have been a feed issue. It could have been on some of them, but I felt like a few of the hives had a lot of supply.
Yeah, yeah. How how long now have you been doing the OAV? Has it been what, a year
We
and a
started
half?
last year. We started last year. Yeah, so a year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've seen like a huge, I know prior to that, well, you were treatment free pretty much prior to that, correct?
Yeah, we played around with the Apivar strips, but I wasn't very consistent with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've had my fair share of loss as well through the years. I mean, where I tried to do is minimal as far as treating, and I just
Mhm.
found it saves myself a lot of headaches if I just stay
Yeah.
on top of my IPM, my pest management.
Yeah.
And it has, I mean, like this year's, one prime example. I mean, yeah, I had some losses also, but when I start out this year with 3 colonies and I'm sitting at 18 good colonies now, you know, you end up, you live and learn, and that's it. I mean, I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
So, but your fall, like where are you guys at now as far as, do you guys have any type of a flow going on down in your area?
It's pretty dry everywhere. Like we haven't had any rain in a long time. Everything looks like it's dying out. Sometimes it seems like soybean helps out a little bit, but it's starting to dry out now too. That sometimes helps with the flow kind of late
Yeah.
summer. Um, I don't know. I don't know what they have to get right now. They're eating some of the honey because I haven't gotten to. I need to harvest in the next week or so, and in the flow hives. So up in the flow supers, they've got those. There's like 7 these big thick frames,
Yeah.
and it's really fun throughout the summer. I go in there and like shoot a little video just showing as the honey starts to fill in there.
Mhm.
And it was almost full on one of the hives. I just went and checked the other day, and it's like half gone. So
Oh, wow.
they're starting to eat through it.
Yeah. When you harvest that thing, now I've the flow hive is actually how I started beekeeping.
Okay.
My mom wanted to get a flow hive, and I knew nothing about bees. And she
Yeah.
said, I was asking her, "What do you want for Christmas?" And she said, "A flow hive." And I'm like, "A flow what?" Like I was totally
Yeah.
clueless.
Yeah.
And now here we are, and I couldn't ever, with my beekeeping management, um, the flow hive wasn't successful for me. Now I took it down to Greg's place. He
Uh-huh.
uses it in his learning yard, and he makes it a point every single year. He saves that flow super to
Uh-huh.
extract it while I am there,
Okay.
and it works. I mean, we've last 2 years, he's pulled, I mean, quite a bit of honey out of that thing.
Yeah.
You extract it. Do you go each frame into an individual container? That way you don't.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll run like so there's 7 in there, so I'll run like 3 at a time. Um so I can kind of keep track of it and not overflow or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, and I'll put a jar under each one
Yeah.
and let it flow out, and then yeah, sometimes I'll move a jar around or something, but we'll just have like 10 big jars or something, like quart jars that
Yeah.
will move around as we work through it. But this year we've got 3. I've got 6 of those hives. I think 4 or 5 are full of bees, and then 3 of them have the flow super on. So through the 3 flow supers all have honey in them. And I do get contacted a lot because Flow Hive shared some of our videos before, and so people will reach out to me in the US because they're in Australia. People in the US, they'll reach out and say like, I've had this for a year or 2 or whatever, and I can't get the bees to ever go up into it. And so there's a couple parts of that the first year it was a little struggle, but if they fill their first 2 boxes, they usually move into it on their own. I haven't had to do anything. Flow Hive will say, you can, coat some wax on it or something to get them to go in there. But usually if they fill up the first box of the first 2 that we run, then they start moving in there because they need more space. So that's usually the issue, is that people are working with first year nukes or boxes of bees and they just haven't moved up. They just haven't filled up their hive enough.
Yeah. I like when I very first got that Flow Hive and I put it on, I didn't do anything special to it. I didn't wax it. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Put it on a colony, and it ended up that when I went back and checked it about a week later, it was probably the most fantastic looking ant colony that I had seen in life. So I had to
ants love it. I find ants all over that thing, but they've come up with some new ways, like to do some little cups down on the legs and stuff like that, so you can put some oil in there or something to keep the ants from getting up there.
Yeah. But we got a question here that is directed at you, Jake.
I'm here to talk. Let's talk.
See, what do you enjoy most about the homestead? Bees, birds, chickens, something else?
So bees are definitely my hobby, but I've been really bad this year. Our bees are like pretty hands off. I haven't had a ton of time this year. Like I worked with them a lot, March, April, May, and the season was going so well. And then, man, it really slowed down like May, June. And some of that's because of the weather. And some of that was our kids' baseball season start picking up in May and June. And I was a coach for 2 of my boys. And so that started eating into a lot of my free time. And so the bees are probably my favorite hobby. But then there's the things that have to get done. Like the last couple of days, we've been moving chicken coops. And so all day long, we've been a couple times a year, we move all of our coops around. And so just to give them fresh grass going into fall, winter. And so that had to be done. And so there's the chicken stuff like has to be done. And so the bees kind of get put like last in line a lot of times. Like I know I can just get to them when I get a chance. So kind of a loaded question, like, okay, you got clothes on. That's good. She's at the horses. Oh. She's at the horses. Thanks for stopping by. She's maybe at the cows too.
Yeah, they're putting horses.
Okay.
You
guys remember a year ago she came in here without clothes on, so thankfully she came in with clothes on tonight. So they're out. We just got home from our church, so everybody's running out doing chores right now.
Yeah.
So the chicken stuff has to be done. And then I think the bees and the aviary are kind of like our 2 like fun things. So the bees are something I really enjoy. And then our aviary we've completed late last fall into winter, like in December, we moved some of the birds in. And that's kind of like our just really relaxing space to go to now. We've got a live stream on it 24/7. So we have a lot of fun going out there and feeding the fish and checking on all the birds.
I don't comment that often on there, but I probably peek in on that thing every other day or so.
Yeah.
Last time I saw it, your peahen was out there with the little ones. That was what, 2 days ago, maybe it was.
Yep. So that was, she hatched them out a couple weeks. It might be three plus weeks ago now that she hatched them out. But yeah, that was completely free of us, and she's taking care of them. And it's a weird thing because every other time we've hatched anything, we've had to be pretty hands-on, or at least move them into a coop to protect them. And like we had some turkeys hatch this year. We're going to work on a video on that. And man, those turkey poults got demolished by something, and it's probably the tom turkey went after them to. I hear they will kill the offspring to get the mom back so she'll breed with them, and it's pretty cool out there with the peahen. That one, she protects them, but then the peacocks will follow around, and I think it's like they're a big family. So it's unlike a lot of our other birds that would kill the offspring.
Yeah. No, I enjoy watching that thing. I mean, that aviary that you have, I probably would get hollered at daily because I would be sitting out there in a chair and just watching my surroundings, and I wouldn't get anything else done.
We have internet out there, so you could work on a laptop or something, but
yeah, that's true.
Far enough away that sometimes I have to I should go out there and do something. So at some point we're going to have our house here is at the front of our property, and that's at the very back. And so we've got to make an effort to go back there. And
okay.
Someday when we have our house more centrally located, and I don't know, whether we had a pond at the house like that, or we just spend more time at the aviary. Yeah, I would definitely be there more often if we were further back on the property. But yeah, it's really relaxing, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Are peacocks really hard to raise?
Uh-oh, you're gonna get all the bird questions now on this bee chat.
That's okay. That's okay.
So peacocks, not hard to raise if you raise them off the ground. So we learned the hard way the first year or two that we had them. We would have a hen hatch them out, and then they'd be on the ground and they would all die. And then we had one of them tested, and they had all kinds of internal parasites. And then we talked to some other people that raised peafowl, and several of these guys all said they raise them off the ground for the first 4 months. And so ever since we started doing that, I don't know if we've lost a pea chick since then, the last 3-4 years. So
oh wow,
they're pretty hardy birds, but yeah, they are very susceptible to parasites early on.
Interesting.
What was the other part of that about chickens and guineas?
Oh yeah, he said that he's got. I should have just left it up there. I'm horrible. You see. Let's see here.
I was going to look back, see if I could find it. Oh, there you go.
I'd really like to get some
guineas.
Yeah, he's got chickens and guineas. Guineas, I'll tell you what. Our neighbor here has guineas.
They're the worst.
And they're clear across the field. There's a soy field in between us. And most times I'll be doing stuff out in the yard, and from 800-900 feet away, I'll hear the guineas start up, and I'm just like, I'm not bothering you guys at all. You don't have to scream.
I raised, when I was growing up, we got guineas, and at one time we had a flock of like 100 on the farm. And actually, I kind of love them. Love those birds, man. They were awesome. You get to where you just don't even hear. You get to where you just don't even hear them when you have them there all the time. They don't, and if there's ever a snake or anything in the yard, they would run it off, and they were always scratching the horse and the cow patties out there, and just kind of they keep bugs. My mom still has, I think she's got about a dozen up there now, but guineas here in the South, the grass is so deep, and with the dew and everything, it's probably that way where you guys are at too, that they can't really raise them on their own. Plus you got the foxes and the coyotes and stuff out there. So, but one of the guineas just recently, my mom showed me she had some baby guinea keats. Just this past Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, I was up there. I think it was Saturday evening. And they actually, I guess that she had set up a nest right there near the barn, or maybe just right by the door of the barn. So the varmints didn't get them, and my brother was able to catch them. I think there were 23 or something like that, over 20 that she caught. And so she had them in a box with a warming light, and she's going to kind of replenish her flock that way. But when I was young, that was kind of my project. My brother had chickens, and I had the guineas, and so I got, there's different colors. You can get white ones, you can get silver ones, you can get the regular standard gray ones, and you can also get, they called them buff. They're kind of a brown color, and then we called them purple. I think they're lavender is what they're actually called. And we had cages where you put pairs of guineas in there, and we hatch them in the incubator, and we'd sell those things. And that was kind of a little business I had growing up. I think they're kind of cool birds, but they're pretty good watchdogs, that's for sure. They'll make a lot of noise if something's
Well, let me
coming
tell you
around.
my story about guineas, because I agree. I think there's a way to do it right. And so we had them in with our chickens, and I think, well, first we tried to free range them, because that was the whole point, was to like eat ticks, as everybody says they're really good at eating ticks. And so we tried to free range them. They would go up into a tree, and then one or two a night would get picked off by owls. And so they kept getting picked off. So then we moved them in with the chickens, and then they started beating up the chickens. So they were, we were trying to protect them, but then they started beating up the chickens. So then we move them back out. I think we figured out another spot to keep them, and then they would get out or whatever, or get out during the day. And then they'd be right outside our bedroom window here. They would go around, and then they do their loud call right in the morning, right as we're waking up. They're like right here, which we're right up by the road. And I was like, man, we got all this property. You guys can go enjoy all of it. And you got to be right here outside of our window at like 7 a.m. So it was like, man, we're trying to keep you alive, and then you're hurting the chickens, and then you're up here at our house. So we were just like, so pulling our hair out, like, man, we really want to figure out this guinea thing, because yes, they're really good foragers, but man, they're super annoying. So I don't know. We couldn't figure it out. I would try it again sometime, because they are super beautiful birds, but I don't know. I don't know how else to do it and keep them away from the house. That would be the biggest thing.
Do they ever develop any type of like flight instinct when it comes to a certain animal? Like, could you put up?
I mean, they fly pretty high. They fly better than chickens do, but at night, when they're getting picked off out of the tree at night. They try to sit there just like any other bird would, and owls were coming through and getting them.
Yeah.
And then we moved them out to the aviary before we had the whole netting and fencing. They were the first bird we put out there, and we didn't have the netting overhead. And we went out there one time, and there was like a hawk down eating one of them. So they were like really easy to just pick off.
They do get, especially the lighter colored ones, the white ones and the silver ones at night. The owls can see them, I guess, pretty easily. Mm-hmm. Gray ones, I guess, are harder to see because they always perch up in a tree. But there was always some attrition. Like they always, we lost a few here or there, but we always just replenished them with so many.
Yeah,
we just always had a nice flock up there. And mom's kept 10 or 12 up there on the farm now. And they are free range, like they live out on the land. Once they get to a certain age, you release them.
Yeah, maybe I'll try some darker ones, because we had some lavender ones, the lighter, and it was like a light purple or whatever. And
just the standard gray ones. The standard gray ones are pretty camouflaged, especially at night, I think. Now during the day, you can see them out there in the green, pretty well. But they can hide in the grass really well. You just can't hardly see them if they decide to scrunch down the grass. But the hawks can still get them, I guess, but at night they roost up in a tree, and I do think that the owls and stuff have a harder time seeing them. But those light colored ones, they pick them off. I think the white ones would disappear much quicker than the darker ones, but they still are you still have attrition. You still have the female guineas that are sitting on eggs out in the woods at night, and the foxes and the other animals get them and things like that. So you're still going to lose some here or there, but if you just keep replenishing. We would always just get a new group every year. We would try and hatch our own. If we could, like I would go out on when I was a kid, I would go out on hunting expeditions looking for I'd watch the pairs of the guineas out there, because they're really careful. Like they'll lead you on a big goose chase, a big guinea chase, I guess. They won't take you to their nest if they know you're watching them. So you have to kind of be incognito and kind of follow them, and eventually you'll see the hen go into wherever the nest is, and then we would just visit the nest, and we'd leave 2 or 3 eggs in there, and we'd take one out every day. So they kept replenishing it, because if you get a guinea hen sitting out there in the edge of the woods in some bushes or briars, either the varmints are going to get the eggs. They're never going to be able to roost on the, or what they call it, nest on the eggs, or set on the eggs. Or if she does, then she might get eaten alive by some kind of animal out there. So it's anyway, it was something I started when I was like 11, 12 years old, and just really enjoyed it. Mom still keeps them up there. She's still got a few up there, and it's just kind of fun. But
well, that's fine. I might try it again. But if they start going outside of our bedroom window early in the morning, I'm going to send you some nasty texts, Bruce. I'm going to be mad.
Yeah, they are loud. We just got used to them though. We just almost don't even notice them.
They're still
honestly.
getting used to that.
It's impossible to not notice them at that early in the morning.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
I know what you mean, because we don't hear we barely hear our peafowl, and they're loud, but everybody else hears them. But we just kind of blank it out. But they're not right outside our bedroom.
Yeah.
How many colonies do you have now, Jake?
It's around 18. It's
okay,
somewhere between 17, 18, 19. Yeah.
18 is a fantastic number. It's a
great. I was trying to get to 20 this year, and I got really close, and then I lost a couple, so I think I'm probably at 18.
Oh, yeah. My thought in my head was I wanted to get to between 20 and 25, and how I have my colonies set up, there's 2 rows, and I spaced it out enough so that I have 9 colonies in a row.
Yeah.
And I look at that now and I'm like, you know what? My management style, it's easy. Like if there's certain things I need to do, it's quick. You can go out there, you can get it done quick. If I want to go out and tinker, spend an extra hour or whatever, I can do that. Now the equipment, like the instant vape that I've got one as well, that thing just makes it so darn nice because you walk out there when it's time to treat them. I've gone through all 18 of my colonies in under half an hour. So it's like, having that upgraded equipment, I think has helped my management style. But I think moving forward, the 18 colonies that I have, that's going to be my production. And then like the picture that's actually behind us, I cleared a lot of land out to, if you're facing my colonies to the left, it was all grown up weeds and that under the trees. I cleared it all out, and I'm going to cut down a couple of the trees that are over there and then put a small nuke row. And I think like my number, it's just going to be 18. So then when I have any dead outs over the winter, I'll just replace from splits. And then any extras, instead of going on like individual stands, what you could see in the background image, I'm just build a larger, probably 10 or 15 foot long stand and just throw nukes and just throw small splits over there. That way I can kind of control my production colonies, have extra queens at the ready, and just try and become more self-sustaining. So, but I think 18 is my number. It's a decent number. I mean, you end up, if you get 18 really good colonies, you can get a heck of a lot of honey out of it, and you have there's more play. If you lose a handful of colonies, it's like, well, okay, you can make that up with splits easily.
I definitely didn't have a good flow this year. Last year, everybody was busting at the seams in honey. And this year, it's probably only been about half our hives. So it's going to hurt a little bit. I know when we do our harvest that it's going to be down from last year quite a bit.
Yeah. Question here. I know he's asked this question about, I think 2 times in here. Davis Acres Dancing Bees. Hey guys, I'm in Michigan, so it just pains me even saying the word Michigan.
Oh, come on.
So, well,
Ohio
State.
Blue.
Yeah.
Go Blue.
Ohio State.
I was born in Michigan, guys. Come on.
Oh, come on.
He's an Ohio State guy. He can't be converted. He can't be changed. That's just, we love a lot of things about Brian, but he's staunch. Didn't you graduate from Ohio State?
Let's at least help him with his bees, huh? Help this guy.
Right. Takes a guy from Alabama to help the guy from Ohio State. But have been feeding heavy 2 to 1. They're loaded with nectar. One should stop feeding so the bees can dry it and cap it. What do you guys say? What do you say, Bruce?
I don't have a specific feeding program. You know, you can feed about any time down here.
Yeah.
I think they just kind of dry and cap it as they bring it in. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to answer that question. I think more important is the weight on the colonies. I don't know that it has to be capped and dried necessarily for them to utilize it throughout the winter. Especially if it's 2-to-1, it'll be thick. So I would just check the weight and make sure the colony has good weight to it. And you can stop feeding them whenever it feels good and heavy to you. You can pick up the back of the colony, or you can pick it up and you can tell a difference in a light colony and a heavy colony. I'm not sure how much you need up there. Brian, you would be better. You guys both would probably be better. You're in Missouri, right, Jake? Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
Are you in Missouri?
Yeah.
So yeah, Brian, you're probably closer as far as latitude to them, as far as the winter weather, how much they would need.
My general rule of thumb when I when I pull my supers off here, and it could be any time. I mean, it could be in a week, it could be in 2 weeks. The flow will dictate when I pull the supers off. I will throw on the same. I will throw on the thicker syrup. I will feed them until either one, they stop taking it. They're so packed out that they stop taking it. Or two, if we hit those cold nights and it dips, say mid-30s, I'll pull my syrup, because I do not want that syrup on there and if it's going to freeze.
Yeah.
So, and that's typically what I do. Now, like Chris said there too, they may not cap it this late. That is true. I have seen some frames in there that it just looks like wet nectar in there, syrup, whatever it is. But I'll feed until they're either capped or they're either filled out or it just gets cold. So now this year, though, I think we're going to end up in a pickle, at least up here in these northern states, because our weather is like, I was looking at the 2-week forecast, and October 1st, they're saying it's like 77 or 78 here as a high.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to end up having to feed like all out crazy up here. I mean, we're probably going to have to feed all of October, November. So, and I've already gone through, I don't know, like, how much you've fed this year, Jake. Like, we hit after our spring summer flow stopped, we hit such a nasty dearth here in Northeast Ohio. We had the driest August in like 40 years, they said here.
Yeah.
I fed ending of last year. Are you familiar with, there's a grocery store chain up here called Giant Eagle, and they had sugar. It was 25 cents a pound. So I bought like 600 pounds of sugar towards the ending of last year. I thought, I wasn't using it, but when I saw the price, I'm like, I got to buy some of that. Never hurts to have sugar. I've already gone through 3/4 of it.
Wow.
So, and I'm going to end up, I didn't think that I would, because I mean, 600 pounds of sugar is a little bit of sugar, but I went through probably 450 pounds of it between like middle of July towards ending of July through August. It was crazy. So, but yeah, that's beekeeping though, I guess. I mean, it's like farming. I mean, you never know from year to year what's going to happen,
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
hey, one other, before there's another question, one thing to think about. So I knew this was my question coming on here, was uncapping trays, uncapping stuff. I think I talked about it last year and I never went for something, didn't figure something out. We're about to harvest again and I still haven't come up with something. So obviously with our flow hives, I can do that all at the hives, but 2/3 of our hives are Langstroth. So uncapping setups, what do you guys have? What do you guys like, or what do you think is a good option for somebody getting into that?
Well, how many Langstroths do you have, do you think? How many? So you got 18, so you got,
it's like 12, 13 of them.
This is what I did for years when I had, I was probably 30, 40 colonies, maybe even 50 at the time. I can't remember exactly. It's been a few years ago, but There's a very simple product. It's called a comb capper. It's a yellow product. Is plastic. You set it over the top of a 5-gallon bucket. And what we would do is we would just put a 5-gallon paint strainer over the bucket. You'd attach that thing on top. It's like $30, $25-$30, I think, Brian. Are you pulling it up? It's called a comb capper. And we would just take a serrated. I like the serrated uncapping knives you can get cold. We uncapped it cold.
Oh.
And you just shave the cappings off, and they go right down in that bucket, and then you just have your frame, and it's pretty simple. We actually, for a long time, we had 2 of those with 2 buckets, and 2 of us would be uncapping, and the other one loading the extractor. It's not that fancy, but it's very inexpensive and we did it that way for several years until we just got too big.
What part is the comb capper? What is that?
The comb capper is the yellow plastic thing that you put. It's got little holes in it. Brian, is there a picture where you can kind of look at it from different angles, or is that the only picture you have?
No, I'll find another one.
It's got little holes for the deep and the medium frames where you just put the tab. You can kind of see it in there, but you put the tab in it. It goes vertical, and then you just run the uncapping knife down vertical. You can use a hot gun. You can use a heating hot knife, or you can use we use a serrated honey uncapping knife you can get from any of the big stores. You can just use a bread knife if you want, but that for us worked a little better. But see how it has the notches, the grooves, where you just you put the end in there, and it works really well. It's very simple. On the bottom, if you look over to the left of the screen, that shows you how it fits on top of the bucket. And we uncapped honey that way for years. Simple. For what, $50, you can have your setup plus whatever kind of knife you use.
Well, those I saw
because between the knife and then we use like the fork, or we use the roller. We've tried all those, and they all kind of get gummed up with between the honey and the wax, and so we've got to keep cleaning them.
Yeah, you put it vertical. You run the knife down vertically, and then you can just take the knife and scrape it on the bucket and just clean it off. With every one you do, you can scrape it off and clean it off, and the cappings fall down into the bucket.
Okay,
it works really well. Like I say, we did thousands of frames that way probably before we finally upgraded to the then we use a Simple Harmony Farms uncapper, which is much more of an investment. I think they're like $400 or $500. It increased our speed a lot. Now we've got a much better system, but we built up over the years. But with that many colonies, you don't need anything fancy.
Yeah.
Now, some people will go ahead and get an uncapping tank, which is probably a little better. Because if you use this bucket right here, you do have honey in there with the cappings. You got to figure out how to filter it, right? So we would put a paint strainer, then we'd hang the paint strainer overnight, and it would all drip down into the bucket. Then we kind of strain it that way. That's kind of what we would do. So that was our system.
Last year was just really labor intensive with how many frames we had. I don't think we'll have as much this year, but we just got really tired by the end of it.
Yeah. That's just what we used. And if you got 2 people doing it, it goes pretty fast. Let's see. So you had, what did you use to uncap last year? How did you do it? What was your setup?
So we used the hot knife, and then we used a couple of the scraping tools that would scrape it off. But they kept getting clogged up with the wax. And
just get you it's real simple, and there's so many ways to do it. But I would get a serrated knife or the hot gun. You could use that too, either one. I would just go down. If it's good thick frames, it works better, obviously. But then if you get those little forks, little scratcher forks, not the forks that are kind of the ones that you pull down, but the ones that are just like a little scratcher.
Yeah.
And then whatever cappings the knife doesn't get, if it's kind of a thin frame, say a scratcher knife, that's not what I'm talking about. We use those too. Those are kind of a pain. I'm just talking about the standard scratchers. You just scratch whatever cappings off of there.
That one hasn't worked great for us. That one's gotten really clogged up on us.
But the scratcher knife is just a scratcher thing. You just scratch it like this, and the knife will get most of it. Then just scratch that off of there, and then it's ready to go. It can be pretty quick, but it's going to be labor intensive. Anything you do is going to be labor intensive. But then once you get a little bigger, if you want to go a lot faster, there's more equipment you can spend some money on, and it can be much more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to do. If you want to go ahead and ramp up, we can give you suggestions on that as well. But,
what about a heated knife?
That's what you have, right? A heated knife.
Yeah, that's the main thing we use. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that along, I would think if you have a bottleneck right now and you've got the heated, I would just get that comb capper. I have one of those also. I used
It's
that
pretty
comb
fast,
capper.
man.
Yeah. I used that up until the point I got my uncapping tank.
Mhm.
The uncapping tank, if you ever get one of those, you will love it because when
Yeah.
your extractor is going, I'll sit there and my uncapping tank will hold 14 frames. Now my extractor is only a 9-frame extractor, so I can basically have my entire next round of frames.
Yeah.
That's true. If you're looking to upgrade that, an uncapping tank is a better option. Brian, what would you suggest for an uncapping tank? What type to get?
I got mine from Blue Sky Bee Supply. It was it's from an Italian company.
Is it licensed?
No, it's not licensed. I forget the brand. It's
I
just it's
don't.
basic. It's a stainless. It's an uncapping tank. It's got
Maxim.
the
Sorry.
bar that goes across it, and there's a peg that sits on it, so that way you can set your frame on it. You uncap one side, and then you can literally just spin it because it's sitting basically on a nail. Is really what it looks like, and then you just uncap it and then hang it, and it's got like a strainer in the bottom so it catches all of those wax cappings, and there is like a valve in the bottom of it, so I'll basically just put a bucket under it then just to catch the honey as it streams down. That really helped out as far as like where I experienced any of those bottlenecks. Once I increased my extractor size, it was, well, darn it, then I'm sitting there, and you basically just sit there and you're staring at the extractor, and it's like, well, I should be doing something else. The uncapping tank was the next, like,
That is true.
huge bottleneck that I was able to fix. Once you get your uncapping tank, like you get that whole, so to say, like phase of your extraction situated, then I found the bottleneck for me was post extraction. I had a problem as far as filtering out the honey. So that's when I got those hop spiders. So I got 2, and if you don't know what those are, it's basically it's a 5-gallon filter. It fits in a 5-gallon bucket, and they're about this big around. They're used to filter hops when you're brewing. And you can go on Amazon and just type out hop spider, and I can even send you the link. I bought 2 of those. So now when I extract, I've got my uncapping tank. So I've got frames at the ready. Just directly to the right of that, I have my extractor. And with 2 of the hop spiders, I leave my gate on my extractor wide open now. I don't even use it, and it just drains down. Now, I ended up at last year's conference, there was a gentleman that had those bucket alarms. So it'll alarm you when your bucket fills up to a certain point. So that is such a wonderful item because literally then as my honey's spinning out and I'm uncapping, you do not have to even focus at the bucket. When the alarm goes off, all I do then is I'll slide a new bucket right into that place with the it's got another hop spider in it, so it's just constantly draining. And then when that hits, I'll lift up the hop spider out of the one bucket that's filled and let it drain some, and I just transfer that to another bucket. So it's just like a constant like flow now.
Yeah, send me any and all the links, and let me. I'll have to look through those.
I'll send you over some stuff because Bruce uses he has some of the hop spiders as well.
Yeah, we have a big catching tank, but we did 11,000 pounds of honey, so we just have to be efficient. But so one thing I know, Greg actually sells Maxent products, and I know they probably have an uncapping tank, and Mike Berry has one of those that he loves. It's kind of a similar concept where you do the uncapping and then it catches the cappings and the honey will collect in the bottom, and then you just drain the honey out. It works really well. But we use hop spiders, and they work great. We started using those. So if you're looking to invest a little money, I think the uncapping tank is a great idea. We, like I say, we use the serrated knives, bread knife, or the standard, which I love, the uncapping knife. It was designed for honey uncapping, but a lot of people are talking about hot knives. They prefer those. It's just a personal preference thing. And then Brian, that's a great idea with the hop spiders. We actually pour ours into much bigger hop spiders in a bigger container, and they just drain.
Yeah.
But in your case, that would probably work out well. And you can easily spray those hop spiders out. You flip them upside down and you spray them, and they clean up really quickly and easily, and you can just reuse them. So,
oh yeah.
What size extractor do you have, Jake?
It's shoot, what is it? It's not very big, but that's because we initially got it for the horizontal hive frames, and so it had to be really tall frames. So at some point I need to get one with more frames. I think I can fit like 6 or 8 frames in there at a time, and so it's not horrible. It doesn't hold me up too much. It's more the uncapping that's slowing us down.
Yeah. If you get an uncapping tank, and if you get everything set up, you'll go much faster. And then the backlog will be sitting there waiting for that extractor. And then you'll get, like Brian was saying, you'll get aggravated. But I would say at least, maybe a 9 frame, or if you can go up to that next level, like 18 to 20, you will go fast.
Yeah,
It'll be so fast for you.
I saw those extractors at the fair, at the event, the bee event.
Yeah. And Greg sells.
Amazing.
Greg sells the all the Maxent stuff. They would have an entire line. I think it's a little bit pricey. It is American made. I personally have a Hilco extract. We have 2 big 32 frame Hilco extractors we use, and they're good. We like them just fine. Yeah. But the uncapping tank, I think you couldn't go wrong. You couldn't go wrong with any Maxent products, or really, honestly, I've had good luck with Hilco. And then Brian, of course, likes his, and so there's all kinds of options. But you don't need anything huge. What you just need is something that's a little faster and won't create a bottleneck. The truth is with the comb capper, it's very inexpensive, but it would be much slower than an actual uncapping tank. Because the uncapping tank, they have like Brian was saying, they have like a screen on the bottom, don't they, Brian, that catches the cappings and the honey drips through.
Yeah.
So you don't have to figure out how to strain the honey and everything in the uncapping tank, and that'll help you that'll save you a lot of time and headache as well.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. Let me see here. I'll just search their website.
Who's that?
Blue Sky.
Oh, Blue Sky. Yeah.
Oh,
anyway,
they no longer have that Italian stuff. They have Maxent.
Yeah, I would just go to Greg. Just talk to Greg, and he knows you, and he might be able to work you up a pretty good deal on that stuff, and he'll ship it to you and everything. So, they're asking. Mike is asking what size hop spider to use. This is the 14-inch one, isn't it? The 14-inch tall, the 6-inch diameter, I believe. It's about 20. I ordered one today to do. We're gonna try and make some more hot honey. I ordered one today. It was like $28 on Amazon, so it wasn't much.
Yeah, it is. I'll just share the screen. This is the one that I've got. This right here, hop spider. It is 13.78 inches. So, 13 3/4.
I think the good thing about the hop spiders is if you use paint strainers in a 5-gallon bucket, they work, but they just are such a pain. But the hop spider is much cleaner, and you can just flip that thing upside down and spray it all out, then shake it really good, get the water out of it, and throw it right back in there. Much easier to clean than a limp or a flexible paint strainer thing, cloth thing. Yeah. So we've been impressed.
I'll tell you what, Jake, now you would not have the drain port in the bottom. You could always rake something up, but you could even get like a pretty good solid tote and set it up. You could put a board across it and put a nail through it. That way you could, rest your frame on it.
Yeah.
And you could uncap right that way.
Yeah. You can actually, we're going to throw so many ideas at you.
Yeah, you can.
But what's the company that has the totes that you use to,
Hive Butler.
Hive Butler actually has an uncapping system as well.
Yep.
And they actually, you can use those Hive butlers for
Yep.
bee work out in the yard, but they also have a system that's an uncapping system, like uncapping a little tank, like a little tote thing that is pretty
Yep.
reasonable too. I've never used it up, but I have seen it advertised, and they look like they would work too. But
Yeah.
you know, I learned, and I know you probably learned this too, Jake, that when you're ready to upscale, sometimes it's just okay. It's just might be better to spend a little money and get something good, really super that's going to last you a lot of years, and just upgrade that way. That's kind of what over time I finally learned that lesson. And you know, as we had a little bit of money, as the bees made enough to pay for some stuff, I actually have purchased now to where we have some really pretty nice equipment that we built up over the years. And but it took, you know, I've been doing this for 12 years but when the biggest game changer, the first big expense, the big thing that we bought was the 20 frame Maxon extractor. We went from a little 3-frame hand crank that we did thousands of pounds of honey with. We used the comb cappers and that. We went up to the 20 frame. And then we got I think we got the second comb capper because it wasn't fast enough uncapping. So then we did that for a while, and then we just kind of advanced and grew. But we finally just decided that it's just worth it for the time savings just to go ahead and invest a little money.
Yeah.
And but if you get a decent uncapping tank and like an 18 to 20 frame extractor, and you get a couple of those hop spiders, I think you'll be able to move so much faster. I think you'll do. I think you'll be really happy with it.
Here's the Hive butler set up here. It basically, like, you have 2 totes, and you do have a gate. When the lid comes off, you can uncap it, and then I don't know if you can see in that center area there, it does have holes in there that we.
Oh, okay. It holds it up in the top part.
Yeah.
So the honey just drains through.
Yep.
Okay.
How much is that system, Brian? I can't tell. Oh, $220
$220 there.
Yeah, $220 basically for that setup. Greg does have. I don't know if Greg has the uncapping setup.
I think if he doesn't, I'm sure he has access to it, but you just have to reach out to him and see. He can let you know.
Okay. Where's he at tonight? What's he up to?
He is.
He's busy.
Yeah.
He's got something else going on.
Okay.
Yeah. He's on, I think, a date night. So.
Okay.
And
he doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough kids yet.
Exactly. Yes. Well, I think his twins weren't his twins the last ones. So then you got to go, if you have a lot of singles and you have twins, any other ones, they'd be what, like triplets, quadruplets?
Oh, okay. So, the odds go up probably, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So if there's any more burns, you know, the clan would go up to like 15, 16 men.
Yeah.
He's cursing us right now.
Yeah. Hey, folks in the comments, if you may have already been doing this, I didn't notice, but if any of you have experience with like the Hive Butler uncapping tank, I think some people are talking about that, or just the uncapping tanks you have, throw them in the comments, and you know, us and Jake can look back at it after the chat and just see if you have some suggestions in there. It doesn't have to be what Brian or I say. You guys, I'm sure, have some great experience and some ideas as well. So I know.
Sure.
Like I think I'm scale wise, I'm at like a similar scale as far as where you're at, Jake. I basically, my first larger purchase, so I had I think it was a 3-frame little manual hand crank extractor that I used for several years.
Too.
And it got to a point that I think once I got up to about 8 colonies, I spent 20 some hours over a weekend extracting honey, and I was just like, I can't do this. So I ended up getting a 9-frame extractor, and really, well, there goes Eli, really helped out. I wished though, I wish that I would have bought a larger extractor. In all honesty, I wish I would have gone to like an 18, just because. And folks told me then when I was looking at them, they said, get a bigger one. And I said, oh, I'm not going to need it. I'm not going to grow that much. I'm not going to do this and that and whatever. I wish I would have gone to either like an 18 or a 20 frame, somewhere in there. Just because now I look at where I'm at, and if I end up with 18 production colonies and I have 2 supers on every colony, you figure if I have to deal with 30 some supers, you know, it's gonna, if I have my 9 framer, it's gonna take me all weekend. Versus
Yeah.
if I'd you know, if I would have gone a little larger then. So I would say, like, look at where you ultimately want to be, like set that limit. And if it is 18, like where you're at, as far as like with you guys as Homestead, you know, you've got the birds. If you're right where you're at with the bees, 18 is your number, then just look at overall, okay, well, if I do throw, you know, 2 supers on every one, how much time is that going to take? That you'll find that looking at these companies, like if you look at any of the companies that are out there, there's not that much of a price jump. I mean, it's a little bit, but to go from like a 9 up to an 18 or a 20, whichever they have, it's a couple $100.
Yeah, it's worth it, and it will rapidly increase your efficiency.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the uncapping tank and it's just and time becomes money, as you know. And like you said, it was frustrating to have to be backed up all the time, and it wasn't very fast. So it would be worth it, I think, to invest in a nice uncapping tank and a little bigger extractor. I think it would be, you know, the buckets on the back end, you can figure that out. The hop spiders are not, they're like $30 a piece, 20, $30 a piece. And so, but the uncapping and the extractor, if you can get those frames uncapped and, you know, pop them in the extractor, and while it's spinning, do the next one and batch and put them in, and it can go really fast, especially if there's 2 or 3 of you working. If you got a team working at it, it can go very fast.
Yeah.
Do you have, is it just Uriah? He comes out and helps you?
Yeah, we'll have everyone helps with the honey extraction. So Becky will come out and help. She usually does all the draining, and she'll be with the one holding the paint strainer and stuff like that. She takes care of all that. And then Uriah will do like the uncapping, and then I'll work somewhere in between, moving boxes around. So we'll all work on that part of it. But yeah, with the bees, he comes out nearly every time, and he's had a few times this year when I was harvesting our hay this year. I said, I really need somebody to check the hives. Can you go out and do it? So I had him for the first time, like go out and check all the hives by himself, and he did a great job. So
that's awesome.
That was fun to see. So he's 10 years old, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, he's starting to really have a passion for it. Still hates honey, but he loves working with the bees.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, I'll tell you, if you guys do get, I mean, even like that Hive Butler setup, I could see myself, in all honesty, using that, because like my setup, really, the only difference between that Hive Butler and the uncapping tank that I have, well, yeah, one's metal, one's plastic, but mine has legs. So if you have a tabletop or something like that you could set it on.
A table to put it on, just so you don't have to, because there's a lot of bending over with all the harvesting.
Yeah, if you have a table that you can put that on, I mean, the price difference, my uncapping tank, because it's metal, it was $450 or something like that. And I mean, it suits for what I need. It works fine. And even like if I plan on getting a larger extractor this next year, I'll see how my winter goes, but I think I'm going to end up getting a larger extractor, just going up closer to a 20. That way I don't end up getting into a bottleneck situation where I'm only spinning out 9 frames at a time.
Did you guys see those? I can't remember the brand, but I was told he was a good friend of Cayman's that made the extractors.
Thorn.
Do you remember?
Thorn, probably. Thorn Manufacturing. Yeah. Those are really good ones too. Those are really well built.
I can't stop thinking about them.
They're really good. I have his wax melting tank, 25-gallon, but his products are really good, American made. He makes them himself. He does. Now they're on the high end from a price perspective, probably even as much or more than the Maxent. But they're I mean, you can't go wrong with those. I think they're really good quality, really well heavy duty, well built. I'll tell you one person you may want to watch a little bit, or maybe watch some of his harvesting videos as well, kind of on a similar scale, would be Mike Berry. He's down in Louisiana, but he has a really good little extraction setup there that he does it pretty much by himself, kind of like Brian.
Yeah.
He does have the 18 frame Hilco, I think, extractor, and he's got a pretty efficient system that he uses too. So
Yeah.
just some ideas. But you'll have to kind of look at pricing and look at different things. But Thorn Manufacturing is who you're thinking of.
Yeah.
THORNE. That's Jed
Yeah.
Thorn, and he makes some good stuff as well.
Yeah. Just dream building for when I can do that. I know they're expensive, but yeah, they look
Yeah,
amazing.
his are quite expensive, but they're very good. But like I said, the Maxon's good. I like my Hilco just fine as well.
Yeah.
This is them right here. Let me see. That's the melter.
Where's he located at?
He's in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think he's right up around Wausau, Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a big one.
20 deeps. Yeah, 20 deeps or 36 mediums.
So that's huge. Yeah, you probably don't need one that big. I wouldn't imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he have a smaller one? You really get through it in a hurry if you have one that big.
Yeah.
That price isn't as bad as I thought it would be, though. I thought it would be more than that, but
well, this one right here. So that's 19. Or wait, 15.
That's 16.9. Yeah, 15. Yeah, 15 mediums and 9 anyway. But see, it's only $800 less than the 36 frame one. So
yeah.
And the one thing about him, if you look at that, it is everything is metal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
they are about as beefy as they come. Everything is metal in that thing. So yeah.
Anyway, food for thought. That's a great question, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope we didn't give you too much to think about.
Well, I'll take care of the uncapping part this year probably, and then then I'll work on extractor for next year.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great.
Yeah, the uncapper. Oh yeah. Well, with the uncapper, then as far as with the family helping out, I mean, I think
quick.
Huge. Oh yeah.
I was trying to help out Eli and Uriah, help out our boys because they're the ones that they do most of the uncappings for us.
Right. Yeah. I'll have to when you now I'm gonna keep an eye here on the socials, and when you tell everybody, all right, everybody, we got honey here posted. I got to be lightning fingers to get the White House on the Hill honey.
It lasted well, so we produced a lot more. It actually, I think it lasted a day this time. I think the previous years, I think it sold out within an hour or two because we just had such little supply. But no, I think if we get enough this year, it should last a couple days probably.
Yeah.
And then we usually come up with a little bit more. We're able to get a little bit more sometimes out of the flow hives or somewhere we come up with a little bit more at some point.
Right. Yeah. Now I'll send over, I'll write myself a note that way I don't forget because, getting in these older age, these older years here, it's just the gray hairs. I think they've like destroyed my neurons. So the brain doesn't work all the time, but, I'll send over like links to all of these different items and just kind of like, I'll write up like my process, how I do it. I think in all honesty, my uncapper that I have, I don't think I'll ever get rid of that just because to hold 14 frames, even if I go to a 20 frame extractor, I mean, it'll work out.
Yeah.
My extractor is probably the only item that I have that I will probably upgrade. And it's no fault of the extractor. It's the fault of the person that bought it because I didn't look far enough ahead and think, well, do you need an 18 or, do you need anything larger than that? So that's my fault there.
What do you do with the old extractors? Is there a good market for that to resell?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The marketplace, they'll be gone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I had my 20 frame Maxim when we've upgraded to the 32 frame Hilcos. We got 2 of them. My partner that we do honey together with and me, I got one, then he saw mine. He's like, I got to have one. So we're up to 64 at a time going now. So it's pretty impressive. But I put that thing I can't remember if I put it on Marketplace or if somebody just heard that I saw. I can't remember how it got out there that I was selling it, but a guy drove down from, gosh, he was 4 hours away and bought that thing. He bought it like immediately. He got that thing and he's been using it. So yeah, you can get rid of them, I think, pretty easily.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least around here, just put it on Marketplace. It'll probably
Yeah.
disappear pretty quickly for a reasonable price.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to do also. Like when it gets to the point where I basically am going to look at how my winter survival is, and I'm going to save, like I set aside my honey money when I do the markets. And I'm going to save enough money that I'll kind of have a dollar amount in my head how much I want to get for the extractor I have. So then when it's time next year, if everything kind of falls into place like I hope it will, then I'll just make the move and I'll list my current extractor, sell it, and then I'll just purchase the new one.
Yeah.
So, but when I get a new one, like I know I'm going to have to change my room around some just because it's going to have a larger footprint. So I'm going to have.
We'll have to do that in a future episode. Talk about room design because I've got some ideas for future places to put everything. So I'd love to see layouts for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it does. I mean, like Bruce was saying, Mike Berry, he's got a heck of a. He's got like it was like a
storage shed looking thing.
It's a shed that he basically outfitted for his beekeeping operation.
It's perfect it's perfect. It works well.
Oh yeah.
But every year he does some honey extraction videos and he really does a great job of showing exactly what he's doing. So that it would be worth it just to go look at his setup there. He's got the everything of his is like designed for someone of like a small sideliner. He's got more hives now, but I think he usually runs like 40. I think he's got more now. He's full. He retired, so now he can probably do a few more. But he was that 35, 40, 45 mark, and his setup is just really efficient, really good, and just perfect for someone of your size, I would think.
I think like the basics is. I almost think of it like a kitchen though in a way too, because there's that certain like triangle that they say as far as what is it like where the fridge, the stove, you're sinking that. With
from thing to
honey,
thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Like with honey extraction, how mine is set up, I kind of have it like a U. So my room that it's in, it's split in two. It used to be an old chicken coop is what it was. My mom in this building, she had chickens in there and I pressure washed it, painted it. And now that's where all my beekeeping stuff is. And there's still a dividing wall in there. So on one side of it, I have all the supplies. The other side is my extraction. And it's basically like a U. So I'll start like on the one side and I have my uncapping tank. And then in the corner, I basically just turn like this. The corner right there is my extractor. And then behind me, I have a bench that I built and I can basically just turn around and I've got buckets underneath of there. So I'm basically, and there's a lot of times where I just sit on a chair and I'm just kind of pivoting and, it's just kind of like a fluid movement. I set all of my boxes to the left of my uncapper. So then it's just, I grab it, grab the frames, they go to the uncapper, they go directly then into the extractor, and then the buckets just go on the, the bench behind me. So you'll find it. I mean, you'll find what works for you as far as like that fluid motion, but having things kind of arranged in a certain order, that also helped me because my room used to be a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, we're just using our barn that we share with all my other equipment. So I just have to like pull everything out where I would love to have a future space that had it all in place so I didn't have to move it. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, even if you ended up even getting like a 9-frame extractor and then you ended up with like a Hive Butler uncapping setup, the Hive Butler, they're totes. So you could easily store that, when you're not extracting, you could easily store your Hive Butler somewhere out of the way, there's so many different ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send you over
Yep,
stuff
that's
though.
good.
I mean, I can even take like pictures of my uncapping tank and like my bench and that I had set up. My bench, it was basically like a project. I bought like the joints and stuff I think it was at Menards, and you basically have to buy the wood and you can basically construct it however you want.
Mhm.
But yeah, so many different ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Bruce, you're looking like you're about to turn into a pumpkin, buddy.
What does that mean?
You don't know what you're about to turn
I
into.
mean, I know I got a big old egghead, but a pumpkin, I don't know.
You never
It's got to
heard
be one
that
of the Disney
phrase?
movies, right? You're going to turn
Yeah,
into
you
somebody.
talking about Cinderella?
Yeah, you're going to turn
Yeah,
into a
yeah.
pumpkin.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I gotta hop off. I gotta hop off here pretty quick. But
Jake, the old guys, they can't hang that long.
yeah, I hear you.
Well, I appreciate you guys hanging on a little longer for me since I couldn't be here at the beginning. But
It's
yeah,
all
thanks
right.
for the conversation.
It's all right. Yeah. I'll send over, like I said, I'll give me tomorrow. I have a light day with work, so I'll jot down some ideas for you. And yeah,
Great.
I tell you, I know I've got one of those comb cappers. If I've got two of them or so, I'll message you.
Oh, it's okay. I've got an Amazon
Well,
account. I can get one.
yeah. Well, if I've got multiple of them though, I've
Okay.
been this year. I had a little 3-frame extractor that I gave to a cousin of mine just because I was never going to use the thing. She only wants 2 hives, and I'm helping her out, and it helped me out getting rid of it just because it was less stuff that I have in that building. So I've been going through like my supplies, and if I have stuff that I'm never going to use that's in a box, I'm like, who can take it? So
Yeah.
it'll either
Yeah.
do that or else it'll go to the bee club.
Okay.
Who wants this?
Okay.
But well, Bruce, what do you got coming up in the next week?
Well, I'm just going to be going to the Alabama Bee Association conference. This Alabama Beekeepers Association conference. Going to be speaking on how I shoot my YouTube videos. Nobody will probably basically tips and tricks for beekeeping video. It's obviously I'm very very basic at what I do, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully some folks will come. I don't know if they will or not, but so that's what I'm doing this weekend. Going to be speaking both Friday and Saturday, just doing the same presentation twice. We're going to have Randy Oliver there. We're going to have Bob Benny's going to be there. We're going to have some big names there, so it'll be kind of fun. And fortunately, I'm not matched up with Bob Benny or Randy Oliver. I'm not going to be trying to present at the same time they are, so that's good because I don't know. I think people are going to want it anyway. It should be really good. They did a great job with it last year. I went to it last year. It'll be fun. We'll see a lot of the Alabama folks there. Lisa is going to be there as well as some others, so it ought to be a lot of fun. But I've got to start. I was mentioning earlier, I did actually check some of my colonies for mites after I pulled the Roxanne strips out this weekend, and I've got most of them are like within the 3% threshold, but there's some that are a little bit over. I only found a couple that were higher, really a lot higher than I want, but I would rather not. 3% threshold is 9 mites. That's really too many.
Yeah.
Had a couple that are up around that 18 to 20 range. I checked quite a few of them, but most of them are in that. There are some that are like down around the 0, 1, 2 range, just fine. Not percent, but mites total. But then there are a lot of them that are higher than I want. I really want them all to be around just a 1% or lower, honestly. So I'm going to just start hitting them with OAV, just every chance I get for the next few weeks. And it just honestly, the bees to me, when I use OAV, they just look healthier. I don't know if it's because they clean each other off when you hit them with that stuff, or it's just because the mites die. I'm not sure, but if you hit them consistently with that for several weeks, it seems like the bees to me, they just seem more vibrant and healthy lots of times. And so I'm going to go ahead and just start hitting them. And probably go on around 4 to 5 weeks as best I can, and then give them a little break, and then hit them again in November, December. And but I'm going to check and see if that knocks them down. I've actually, and I know we're getting late here, but and I may have mentioned it on the chat before, but a few years back, I had some Apame colonies here in my backyard, Apame hives, and they got neglected. I didn't treat them. I was treating everything out in the country, just doing all my different stuff I was doing, but they got neglected. If they're at home, they're in sight. Lots of times you just think, oh, I'll get to it, and then you never do. Well, it was around, I think, November, December timeframe, and I had not treated them all year, if I remember correctly. And I popped to the OAV treatment in there, and I had literally thousands of mites dropped. I mean, it was like peppered. The whole bottom tray in those FMA colonies was peppered with mites. I'm like, holy cow. They were still brooding the colonies, though. We never really go totally broodless here. And so I'm like, well, I'm just going to hit them every week until we don't have mites anymore. And so we still have brood in the colonies. The colonies actually look pretty good. Hit them, I think, 5 weeks in a row. The second week we had a bunch. Third week, way less. Fourth week, way less. And then by the fifth or sixth week, there are almost no mites. And so you can treat them. You can have an effective treatment with OAV if you hit them a lot of times. You can't. I think it's effective, but it is kind of labor intensive. But it can be done. Ideally, obviously, with OAV, you want to do it when they're as broodless as possible, preferably completely broodless. But down here, they never go completely broodless. But I've had good success doing that in the past. And every year I'll lose some, but every year I end up with more coming out of winter than I started than I'd lose. And so, each year, typically, historically, I end up with a lot of good, strong, healthy live bees. And so I don't do everything perfect, but it seems to work out. And I hope I have another good year this year. Last year was this past year has been my best year ever in many ways, and it's been kind of fun to see the bees do well this year. But now I'm starting to lose a few. I think mites might be part of that problem, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, good stuff. Jake, what do you guys got in the next week?
We got moving our chickens around. Was a big task we had to take care of. I'm probably forgetting something. There's a few things we're working on here, but the harvesting honey is right near the top of the list. So I'll be working on that probably in the next week or so. So yeah, that's probably what I'm working on. I don't know. I've got a few videos that are in the works that are kind of long-term, like 6-month projects. So we'll see which ones come to a conclusion before the others. One's a turkey one, one's another chicken breed we are showing kind of from start to finish, and so some different long-term things. So kind of working on those, but yeah, that's all I've got going on.
Good deal. Yeah, well, here I got to get out and film. I mean that's about it. But I think once I get past this weekend, I've got family stuff going on Friday. I turn a year older on Saturday, so that's why I'm busy this weekend. But Saturday, thank you. Saturday I'll be doing family stuff, and then Sunday I'm actually speaking at a bee club, also the one local bee club, and then go out and have another birthday dinner with my daughter and son-in-law. So basically I'm busy up until Monday. So, but the bees, as far as where I'm at, they're pulling in nectar from somewhere. I know it's got to be goldenrod and that. And it just blows my mind that the plants are even producing, just with how dry we've been. But I'll probably be, the way our goldenrod here looks, it looks fantastic. I joke, like every year I tell Bruce and Greg, there's a little teeny patch. We have a little wood pile in the yard, and there's a small little patch of goldenrod on the one edge of the wood pile. And my wife yells at me every year because I don't cut it down. And I use that, though, as an indicator, because I watch that goldenrod just to see what is taking place, like what's happening with it. And every time I walk Eli, our pup, out, I'll look at it. And like today, it was covered on, there's like 6 or 8 stalks of it it's just a small little group of it. There was probably 8 or 10 bees all over, like, portions of it. I mean, it was loaded with them. And I'm like, well, if there's that many bees on it, it's gotta be producing something. So, but I'm going to watch them. And I know, like, my mite counts, when I did mite counts after my OAV rounds that I did throughout July, my highest mite wash was a 3. Now, it could be 3 times that, 4 or 5 times that now, but I'll end up, I'll do some more mite treatments, some washes, things like that. And, they'll just get here soon. They're going to get buckets put on them and prep them up for the winter. So,
yeah,
fun times though,
yeah.
So, Jake, appreciate you jumping in.
Sure thing. Thanks for having us.
Times. Yeah. Always good times. And Bruce, I gotta toss it over to you, buddy, to do the ending, because we're not like
all right. No, we just appreciate everyone coming on tonight for the StreamTeam Beekeeping chat, and we're gonna make it short and simple. Please, I know that things have been a little bit heated the last few days, last week or so. Last week to 10 days, it's been kind of crazy out there. It's just been a tough time for many Americans, for all of us, and really worldwide. We've had a tragedy that happened a week ago today. Just keep the Kirk family in your thoughts and prayers, as well as those who are affiliated and associated with them, and hope that all the, I'm hoping for peace. All these people who put their necks on the, out there. No, I didn't mean to say that. Who are out there, trying to make a difference in the world, whether it be, small scale like us or in the limelight out there. Just be sure to have your prayers for them and pray for their peace and safety. It's been hard. So, but anyway, we all have the opportunity to, the name of this is a StreamTeam Beekeeping chat. And Greg is so eloquent when he talks about the opportunity we have to let our light shine and to be the lighthouse. And so, as Greg would say, I hope that we can all, be the lighthouse and be the change that you want to see in the world. And good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you all.